Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Aries sun signs, or if you have significant Aries placements in your chart and are needing to work with or balance a masculine energy within yourself. Or if you're just feeling drawn to this reading for whatever reason, if the title is pulling on you, if you're feeling a pull to watch this, then there may be a message in there for you. So Aries, I've already pulled your cards. So let's get started. The first card we have here is the Queen of Pentacles, which says nurture and justice. So I feel like that's your energy today. Which is interesting because this is a masculine energy reading, but I feel like you're very much in your feminine energy right now. But you do have these two, the Prince of Swords, determination, and the Prince of Discs, reliability, and then you have Two of Cups, union. So there may be somebody here who is helping you through this decision. It feels like a decision. One second. Sorry, Aries. I've been feeling so stuffy inside lately. Like, just the space that I normally record has been feeling so stuffy. So I've been wanting to do more readings outside. As long as the weather is cooperating, I feel like I'm going to be doing more readings outside. The thing about the readings outside, though, is that the wind likes to be part of it. So the Princess of Cups and the Ace of Wands are the two cards that just flew off that I had to go get. So I feel like they want to be part of your reading. I feel like this is what's coming to the surface. There may be a particular dream that you have that is really pulling on your inspiration, is kind of how it's feeling. I just, like, as I was getting ready for this reading, I was just getting this feeling of feeling like really out of breath, like I can't catch my breath. So you may be feeling something like that, where it doesn't quite feel like anxiety. It could be, though, could be related to that, where it's kind of just like you feel like maybe there's like not enough time, or like time is running out, or that you're like wasting time or something like that. Perhaps to go after whatever this inspiration or this dream is. Right? It's kind of feeling like also like something that's really tugging on your heartstrings. I'm kind of getting something like it might be tied to a particular person as well, especially with this Two of Cups here and this Knight energy. So it may be something like there's somebody who is like really important to you, right? Whoever this Two of Cups union energy is representing. And it's kind of like when you think about this person, you like a dream stirs up in you, right? Like you have a dream that you want to create with this person, is kind of how it's feeling with these two cards. Determination, reliability is something that you want to build with them, is what's coming through. But it may be causing anxiety because of because you feel like you're running, like, or there's not enough time to complete it, or like it would take too long, or like it would require a lot of time that has already been put in that maybe you feel like you don't have anymore. Okay, so that's the overall context. And then so for these readings I'm doing a little bit different, where I do 5 cards at the top for what's in your external environment or how you may be showing up to others, and then in the bottom row is what's in your internal landscape, like how you might be feeling about it. So the first 2 cards here, we have the Two of Swords and the Four of Swords, decisions and rest. So it's like this is, it's kind of like you are taking a rest, right? Like taking a time out in order to make some sort of decision, it feels like, right? Like to make some sort of decision. It's kind of like this Two of Swords I'm feeling as being like two conflicting ideas, right? The two ideas or two possible paths perhaps are directly conflicting with one another. And so that's why there's sort of a stalemate, and like perhaps taking a lot of time to rest and think about it, maybe. And right below the Two of Swords was this Four of Cups meditation, right? So you could be really focusing on, which is a really positive energy to be in, I think. Like, cause if you're ever not sure about something, or if you're ever feeling rushed to move in a certain direction, that usually means it's not the right time. Or it's like, if you feel rushed, that means it's not the right time. It's anxiety. It's a preparation kind of feeling. But I feel like this Four of Cups is a really positive energy that you are in right now, because it's kind of like you're trying to perhaps assess what the right course of action should be, or like what it is that you're supposed to be going towards, or how to go towards that, maybe. Okay, and then what's coming up next is this. You have Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups. So again, I feel like this is like you're in a feminine energy. It's kind of coming through a couple of different ways. So if you are, because this is a sun reading, it's a masculine reading, I feel like maybe, no, it doesn't feel like that. I feel like you are in your feminine energy right now, which is kind of just like waiting, right? Like waiting or deciding or nurturing something or yourself, how you feel. But it feels like these two aspects, the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups, are the two sort of, I want to say, potential paths that you are currently debating, right? So one path is like to be the Queen of Wands. The other path is to be the Queen of Cups. And then the last card here you have is the High Priestess, which is leaning more towards this Cups energy. That's how it feels, because especially because your internal environment, the first card out you have here is this Cups, right? So you may, I don't even want to say that you're leaning towards any one of these two options. It's just kind of like you're feeling out both, is kind of how this is feeling. Or trying to decide between these two. It doesn't necessarily feel like people. It could be though, but it's feeling more like if you were to choose this one path, it would require you to be more in a Wands energy. If you were to choose the other path, it would require you to be more in a Queen of Cups energy, which is really interesting. So it wants to talk about, so first of all, and then the next card in the bottom of the deck, or sorry, not the bottom of the deck, the bottom row is this Three of Wands, the vision. Meaning, like, it's coming out after this Four of Cups. So I feel like you are receiving a lot of visions about the future path, or like where it is that you are headed. Or like just having dreams about stuff, right? Like dreaming about what you could be going towards next, or what you might be creating next. What's really interesting though is that you have these three cards. So the Eight of Swords and the King of Wands. So isolation and leadership. And this King of Wands, so these two cards came out together. They wanted to be paired together, and it came out underneath the Queen of Wands, right? The Queen of Wands and the King of Wands. So again, it may be that you are sort of in this rest, or not taking action yet, like waiting, perhaps gathering a lot of information or ideas about something, and not taking action. But this King of Wands was initially coming through as being sort of like a father figure of some sort, or like somebody in your family. Somebody who is maybe like too young to be your father is kind of how it was coming through. Or it doesn't have to be that though. That's just one example. But somebody that you perhaps look up to, right? Because it is coming through with leadership. So they have a position of authority, maybe in your personal life. What's interesting though, because what the next card out here is this Fear card. What I'm getting with this is kind of like there's somebody here in your life that perhaps you looked up to or admired in some way, or like a lot of how you live or how you show up for others, or this kind of energy is modeled after them, is what's coming through here, right? Like it's like they're your role model of some sort, or they had a really big influence on like perhaps how you interact with the world. But what was coming through here actually is kind of like whoever this one is, whoever this King of Wands represents to you, it's kind of like they passed something on to you that was not intended. Right? It's like they passed like something onto you because of your relationship. But it was like there's something that they were perhaps not telling you about it, which is really interesting. Like it's kind of coming through as being like whoever this King of Wands, I feel like they've passed actually. It doesn't feel like somebody who's like currently in your environment right now. But it's like they still have a strong influence on you, or like you're still modeled after them in some way. But it feels like there was some sort of like secret. I don't like that word. It doesn't feel quite right in this situation, but it's something like that, like something they haven't told you about perhaps themselves, or the reason why they do the things that they do, or the choices that they made in their life, or something to do with like perhaps their creative process, or how they express creatively, or passion related, like that kind of thing. There's something about this energy, this King of Wands, where it's kind of like they show up very strongly, a lot of leadership, right? But with this Eight of Swords, I feel like this is theirs. It's like they felt very alone in what it is that they were creating, or something like that. Like I feel like this Eight of Swords energy is theirs, and this Eight of Swords is something like, especially because it's coming through with the Wands energy, where it's like they did not allow themselves to have a certain type of experience. is how I'm putting it. And an example of this is just one example, right? Like where but it could be something else, but it's just kind of like the most accessible to explain what this dynamic could be. It's like somebody who is in the closet, right? Like they in a sense are keeping an aspect of themselves hidden from the world, in isolation, for whatever reason, right? So it could be something like that, where it's like they did not express their, for example, sexuality or creativity in a way that was like fully realized, in a sense. And the reason why this is coming up is because in some way, like maybe you don't know this about them, right? Like they never told you about this. That's why it's a secret. It's like they didn't tell you about this side of themselves. Maybe you didn't know this about them, or something like that. And the reason why it's coming up now is because of this, that perhaps unconsciously, because you didn't know this about them, that they were like in the closet metaphorically, or however that plays out for you. You didn't know this about them, but you were unconsciously modeling yourself after them. Meaning that there's some aspect of yourself that, like, you admire this person, so you want to be like them. But what they were expressing was something of an Eight of Swords energy. They weren't fully allowing themselves, perhaps, to be out in the world as they could have been, is how it's coming through. And there's absolutely no judgment about that choice. Because it feels like they made a decision to not live their life like that. But it's like, for you, that's where the conflict might be. Because it's like unconsciously, or consciously, I don't know. Perhaps unconsciously, though, you're holding on to this idea that they passed on to you. Like, where it's like, you're now feeling conflicted because it's like, what would this person do? Like, you're asking, like, you perhaps consulting or like in meditation trying to ask or connect with this person's energy and being like, what would they do in my situation? And it's coming up again as being sort of like this difficult decision, because what they would choose is to be in isolation. That was the choice that they made in their life. But for you, it's coming through as this fear, right? Like, this Nine of Swords is coming out next. This is like, this King of Wands is surrounded by 8 and 9 of Swords. So it could be causing this sort of like feeling of like their choices are almost hanging over your head. Right? It's like, if this person maybe perhaps has chosen not to engage in a certain aspect of their life, right? And that's totally their choice. Every person has the right to make that decision for themselves. For you, though, it's kind of like it's causing this kind of like unconscious sort of pause. Because if you were to choose the same thing that they chose, it actually causes this energy within yourself that doesn't feel right to you, right? It's this feeling of like anxiety, of like time is running out. It's coming from them, is kind of how it's feeling. Like, there's because I feel like the timing is not an issue, is kind of how it feels to me. Or that there's more time than you actually think there is. Anyway, so I feel like in order to perhaps move out of this place is this Queen of Cups, High Priestess energy, right? Your intuition. And for the High Priestess, this talks to me about like your own inner knowingness. It's something where it's like you can't ask anybody else for guidance in this. It's kind of like something that you know to be true for yourself, and no one else can tell you what the next step is. That's what this High Priestess talks to me about. So connecting with this aspect of yourself. And then you have the Nine of Discs coming out as the last card, culmination, meaning I feel like you've reached a very significant part of because you have two nines next to each other, right? These two cards were side by side in your internal environment. I feel like there's something about, because this one says culmination, about like fear of success, or fear of like actually getting what you want because of So, a couple of my cards flew away. Two of them. One was the Prince of Swords, which was the determination card, and the other was the Queen of Discs, the nurture card. So I actually lost the Queen of Discs, the Queen of Pentacles. I can't find it. The wind blew it somewhere and it's just gone. I feel like, anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm taking that as part of the reading, where it's kind of like, I feel like what that 9 of Pentacles and the 9 of Swords was this kind of energy of, like, perhaps you were very nurturing, right? Like perhaps you give a lot of your energy to other people, right? Like you're very, very nurturing. But it could be that, like, whatever decision you are trying to make right now, it almost feels like it would be a really selfish decision, because you're so used to giving all of your energy away. That's what it feels like to me. Where it's like, if you were to go after this dream of yours that you have to create something, it's causing all of this fear, perhaps, and anxiety, because in order to pursue this, you would have to take your energy away from the people that you are perhaps nurturing, or like relationships that in which you play a very nurturing role, right? Like family members and whatever, because this is what this King of Wands person told you to do, or like that's how they showed up for people, right? They gave a lot of their energy away, is kind of how it's feeling to me. And so the feeling of that loss, or like that 9 of Pentacles, might feel like it's like you've reached a culmination, but it's like you haven't been able to bring certain projects to its full potential. It's like using a deck that's missing a card, right? One card is missing. There's something missing, and so it feels incomplete, or it feels like there's still something missing, is just kind of how it's feeling to me. That's why I feel like it's like you're at the 9 of Pentacles, but the 10 of Pentacles is what has been eluding you. It's like the wind keeps blowing it away, or you may be giving a lot of your energy in order to help others, because that's what the King of Wands would do. But what this reading is trying to bring to light is that the King of Wands was in an energy of choosing not to live for himself or themselves. And subconsciously, that's having an effect on your choices as well. So take that if it resonates. I'm going to end the reading there. If this message resonated with you, please consider liking, subscribing, leaving a comment down below. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.